class. This is Mrs. Pemberton, and this is help with page 7 and 8 in your practice book, so your homework tonight. Before you begin, review your zero exponent rule, and then if something has a negative exponent, remember it drops it to the denominator. Okay? So here we go. Number 1, 100 to the 0 power, you should have 1. Anything to the 0 power gives you 1. On this next one, it's asking you to write negative 32 to the negative 2nd power without a negative exponent. So that means instead of writing it with a negative 2 exponent, we're going to simplify it so it's dropped to the denominator. So 1 over negative 32, and then to the 2nd power. Number 3, it's asking you to write it with a negative exponent. So now you're going the other way with that. It gives it to you in the denominator, meaning it's a negative exponent. So 7 to the negative 6th power. These mean the same thing, just a different way to write it. You're comparing, so you're telling which one is greater on number 4. 8 to the 0 power is 1. So this is going to give you a 1 here. Okay. 8 to the negative 2. Okay, it drops it to the denominator, that negative exponent. So if you expand that out, you're left with 1 over 8 times 8, which would give you 1 over 64, a fraction. So that 1 over 64 is going to be smaller than just 1. So 1 over 64 would be smaller than 1. And you could explain that here. On number 5, okay, you're simplifying this expression, and you're going to write it using an exponent, your answer. So anything to the 0 power is 1, so this is going to give you 1, and you're multiplying that by 12 to the 6th power. Anything times 1 is whatever that other number is itself. So you'd be left with 12 to the 6th power. Okay, I'm going to scroll up here just a little bit. We're going to lose some of the writing when I scroll up here. You can always come back to this and rewind. Oops. Okay, so on number 5. Oops, we just did number 5. Number 6 is where we're at. So what is the value of x in this expression? Well, our answer is 1. So in order to get an answer of 1, that x has to be 0. And you would explain that below. So you should have negative 35 to the 0 power. That's going to give you an answer of 1. Okay. Next one, you're going to just simplify these. Okay. So another way to write this will be 1 over, since it's a negative exponent, it drops to the denominator. Right here again, you have a negative exponent, so it's going to drop that negative 16 to the denominator. And squared down here. And then the last one like this. So if it's in the denominator, we know it's a negative exponent. You'd have 8 to the negative 4th power. Okay, that's it for this page. So let's go on to page number 8. Okay, so here we go. Alright, so I'm going to move it up just a little. So on number 8, it says simplify the expression 52 to the negative 5. Write it as repeated multiplication. It's asking you to expand it out. And as you do that, I want you to think about what that negative does. And remember, it drops it to the denominator. So you're going to have it expanded out 1 over 52 5 times. Sorry, there's kind of a weird delay with my pen here, so I'm writing as fast as I can. 1 over 52 5 times. Alright, on the next one, write this as an exponential expression that's equivalent to that, okay? So remember, that drops it to the denominator. So you'd have 4 to the 14th power, and then raised to the power of 2, just in the denominator. Okay. Explain if this is positive or negative. Be careful. We see a negative exponent. But if you simplify it all the way, think what that exponent does. It just drops it down here into the denominator, which means 1 over 6 times 6, which would give you 1 over 36. So that answer, 1 over 36, that's a positive answer. Okay? You could explain that here. Next, ordering these from least to greatest. Right away, I know that gives me a 1. Okay? 9 to the third is going to be 9 times 9 times 9. So that's a really big number. Okay? So 9 to the 0 is going to be a 1. 9 to the third is going to be bigger than that. And then 9 to the negative second, just thinking out loud here, that would drop it to the denominator. So I'd have 1 over 9 squared. That's going to be a fraction. That's going to be 1 over 9 times 9, 81. So that's going to be over here. And if you look at the order of your exponents, they go from least to greatest. Okay. I'm going to scroll down just one more time to number 12. Okay, so Lindsay says that negative 12 to the negative third power equals a positive number because the product of two negative integers is positive. Do you agree? Explain. Okay. So think about what that negative does, that negative exponent. It drops it to the denominator. But careful, you have a negative third power. So here's what you end up with. And Elizabeth, I think I said Lindsay first, Elizabeth, she's right in that a negative times a negative does equal a positive, but be careful. So this would give you positive 144. But if you multiply it by another negative, you're actually going to get a negative answer because a positive times a negative is going to give you a negative answer. So since your exponent was odd, meaning you had 3 negative 12s that you were multiplying, that extra negative 12 makes the whole thing negative. Okay? So play with this a little bit, and hopefully that helps you out. I'm here in the morning if you need some help, and you can email me too. Thanks, guys.